Therefore, when I read that judgment this afternoon, Honorable Speaker, I was left wondering and asking myself, does it mean then that all acts of parliament passed by this House post-2010 then are also a nullity in law and unconstitutional? Because there is not a single act of parliament enacted by this House and even by the other House that has not had amendments in third reading. And those amendments have never gone back to the people for public participation. We have to live with the consequences. We made a choice to forego part of our revenue generation measures or revenue raising measures in this financial year. And therefore, the consequences are some of the losses that we have seen in terms of the budgetary allocations that we had, some now that we have to cut back to be able to finance our budget within the resources that will be available. And also, Honorable Speaker, with the court judgment by the Court of Appeal today, nullifying the Finance Act of 2023, that tells you, Honorable Speaker, that it is also likely that we will be here again for further cuts. Because, Honorable Speaker, the government of Kenya has no other way of generating revenue other than through taxation. And indeed, there is a parlance in the United States where they say that there is no taxation, no representation without taxation, or no taxation without representation, like in the state of Washington, D.C. Honorable Speaker, the reverse is also true. There can never be representation without taxation. And that is a fact of life that we have to live with. It's shocking, Honorable Speaker, and I'm not here to dissect the ruling of the Court of Appeal today, the three honorable judges. But, Honorable Speaker, what the courts are telling us today is also an affront not just on our democracy, but our constitutional order in this country under the 2010 Constitution. The courts today are telling us, through their judgment today, that for every amendment, including the amendments that we have just passed on the appropriations bill, they must go through public participation. The courts are telling us that amendments that emanate from the public participation process must then be taken back to the people for a second round of public participation. Therefore, when I read that judgment this afternoon, Honorable Speaker, I was left wondering and asking myself, does it mean then that all acts of parliament passed by this House post-2010 then are also a nullity in law and unconstitutional? Because there is not a single act of parliament enacted by this House and even by the other House that has not had amendments in third reading. And those amendments have never gone back to the people for public participation. That is a fallacy, Honorable Speaker, of that judgment today by the Court of Appeal, with all due respect to the learned judges. But as learned as the judges are, Honorable Speaker, we must now start asking ourselves whether we are in a constitutional democracy or what kind of governance structure we have in this country. I hear the Honorable T.J. Kajwang, not my words, the Honorable T.J. Kajwang is saying judicial dictatorship from his seat.